The fight for equality and, making sure that women are paid the same wages as guys is something that I fully believe in and support, just like every woman does. But it has to be said that our brains do work very differently. Now, we all know this, don't we? Women are able to handle certain tasks better than guys, and guys have advantages over other tasks. So, let's explore some facts about women's brains that every man should know. My name's Anna, and stay tuned. Her menstrual cycle actually changes her mood. Now, I get it. Men get scared when someone mentions the word cycle. It's unfamiliar, but hear me out. A woman goes through so many different hormonal fluctuations throughout her cycle. It's going to be a cycle to prepare for fertility and then to prepare for the growth of a baby or to overcome a missed fertility opportunity. It's a big thing. It's a big deal. On average, 10 days after menstruation up until ovulation, a woman experiences high volumes of estrogen and testosterone, and these hormones make her become more aware of potential fertile mates. So she dresses a little sexier, and her whole brain is programmed around looking good and being on the lookout for the best potential mate. And this is the time when she's more interested in her partner. She is more open to conversations about interests to seduce him. And then after ovulation, if she doesn't become pregnant, from then on until the next 10 days, there is a rise in the progesterone hormone, which makes women a lot less interested in finding a potential date. And at that time, she's more interested to hang out with her friends and focus on her own self-development. So that will explain why your girlfriend doesn't care for date nights after a certain time of the month. She doesn't have an urge to pursue you as her brain is just not focused on being fertile. Women have a second puberty. Now, it's not as intense as the first puberty that we all go through. It's more of an emotional change. Now, men always experience a second puberty too, but it's not as intense and you could literally blink and miss it. Now, women go through something called the perimenopause around the age of roughly 40, and it's the time when their ovaries stop producing as much estrogen and their body adapts to stopping the release of eggs, and then that is when the menopause starts. Women are born intuitives, and it's as if they are magical. Women know some things that guys don't. You may have experienced this with your female friends, your girlfriends, your sister, or your mother. They have a creepy sixth sense, don't they? They can sense what someone needs. It could be a cuddle, could be food, it could be discipline, and they know this without someone even saying a word. Now, it's a skill that women are born with to help look after children, and obviously to attend to babies, because the babies are so dependent on their mothers when they are first born. And sadly, we are born without the ability to actually communicate our needs. So therefore, the mother just has this innate ability to do that. So because of this, women are able to read non-verbal clues better than men. They know how someone truly feels, even if they put on the best fake smile. Women can evaluate expression, someone's body posture, and vocal tone to help them fully understand the emotional needs of people. Women live longer than guys, and this is in all species around the world. Women outlive the men. Sometimes it can be 5 years. On average, it's about 7 to 10. You even see this in the ape world as well. Could it be down to the fact that women are safer and take a lot less risks than guys? The 50 plus years are riskier. Now, this age can differ slightly depending on the woman, but as an average, when a woman becomes 50 and just over, she is more risk-taking. She wants to experience parts of themselves and the world they never have been able to do before. And at this age, if they have had children and all the children have grown up and left the nest, this is her time. This is when she's more likely to pick up her career that she always wanted to do and go traveling and do those risk-taking things. Women are easily turned off. Now, when it comes to a woman's brain, we are able to multitask and think about a range of things at once. Now, for a woman to be in the mood and to reach that point of optimal bliss in the sheets, her brain needs to be able to turn off to enjoy the moment. And however, any small trigger can really end the mood. A woman needs to be mentally stimulated, and that involves everything that happens outside of the bedroom, from the way she's spoken to how how much of her to-do list she has completed to the emotion she actually feels at the moment when someone tries to initiate with her. They can see more colours and textures, so you may not understand what duck egg blue means, but to her it's a big deal. A man's brain tracks the movement of objects better than a female's, but a female can analyse textures and colours much better. They are more likely to fawn. Fawning is better known as people-pleasing. When a woman sees a threat, she is more persuaded to avoid any aggression from that threat by being a people-pleaser. She's going to try and befriend that person in a way to perform to somehow get rid of the threat. Now, it's a slight manipulative tactic to get them out of danger because women have evolved to critically avoid any signs of physical danger. Did you know that alcohol is more dangerous for women? If you look at the side of a bottle or a can of alcohol, you will see that the recommended units are a lot lower for women. And that's because women are more likely to have liver reactions, brain damage, and a loss of vital functions because of alcohol. Their brains are smaller, but for a good reason. Now, a woman's brain factually is 9% smaller than a guy's, but that doesn't mean there's any less brain matter. In fact, it's even better than a guy's because her brain cells are tightly packed together to save space. Women use both sides of their brain. Now, women use both the left and the right side of their brains to look at emotions and objects, whereas guys tend to mostly use the left side. Women struggle with dimensional thinking. Men have this advantage. They are able to think of those dimensional objects and understand things a lot easier than women, which probably does make sense why women struggle to read maps as quick as guys. They remember more than men. Women can tell you where you misplaced your wallet, and this is because their brains were formed to navigate around landmarks and to remember their surroundings as they are going on a journey. They can hear better. Women have 11% more neurons in their brains, meaning that they have a better advantage of language and hearing over guys. Women can hear slightly higher pitch sounds better than guys, whereas the advantages of hearing more low pitch sounds goes towards the guys. They experience less genetic flaws. Now, the male brain is prone to more genetic flaws than a woman's, which means they are much more likely to suffer from a range of neurological disorders, such as anxiety and autism. Let's talk about sleep. Men can survive on much less sleep than a lady can, and if a lady continuously lacks sleep, she will actually suffer physically and mentally for it. Handwriting. Young girls develop their motor skills much quicker than boys, and we could suggest it means they've spent more time to perfect how they actually write, but it's probably down to the motor skills. So women and men grip objects differently, meaning that women actually have a more gentle grasp. Cold feet. Blood flow is concentrated more around the stomach and the hip area, whereas in a man it's actually evenly spread over his body. And this is the reason why women always have cold hands and feet. They are born inventors. Somehow seems to be that the guys have taken the lead with the inventions. However, a woman's brain is much more adapted to creating things. And over history, women have created a lot of things which you don't realise. Paper bags, dishwashers, those little bins that have the little flip lid on. And it's known that behind the biggest minds of history, such as Edison, Einstein and Shakespeare, there was a female partner that helped create masterpieces of today's world, but sadly, they didn't receive any credit for. They have a sensitive nose. Women naturally have a heightened sense of smell, and it could be said that this helped them to pick out the safe berries from the poisonous ones back during the caveman foraging times. Comfort just does not exist. Men dress for comfort and warmth, whereas women prefer to look good and stylish over being comfortable. They subconsciously make their partners fatter. Now, we all put on a couple of pounds in a relationship, and science tells us that we do this to our guys because we want to fatten them up so they take more care of us, and also to become a lot less attractive to other ladies. Women are not born risk takers. Now, even I found this one a little bit hard to get my head around, but the hustle hard culture does look attractive to women. They want to have a good life. They want to have that entrepreneurial power, but their brains do not accommodate for it. We want comfort and we hate the stress of risk taking. Women are more sensitive to emotional pain. Back in the caveman times, time was of the essence due to constant threats, dinosaurs, everything going on. So they would try to resolve any amount of stress quickly or avoid it completely. Therefore, women are unable to cope with high levels of stress and their brains cannot handle it. And if they have to go through a period of a lot of stress, they are more likely to develop depression, PTSD, generalized anxiety, and some other types of mental problems. Pregnancy brain. During the first stages of pregnancy, her body is increasing in the amount of progesterone that it creates. Means this is the hormone that is responsible for getting ready for the baby. But during this phase, the hormone actually makes her very sleepy and forgetful. And get this, her brain even shrinks just slightly during pregnancy. But don't worry, it goes back to its actual original size soon after the birth of the baby. The mummy brain is a thing. Now, just like the previous baby brain fact, the brain alters slightly as soon as she becomes a mum because her every second is under demand by this small helpless baby, and that baby becomes her sole focus, which is no wonders why first-time dads feel pretty lonely as soon as the baby arrives into the world. Women cannot handle conflict well. As women are able to judge a person's motives and behaviors by their non-verbal cues, it means she is hyper aware of any conflict that is about to arise. And if she does spot it, her brain is flooded with stress chemicals and the pain of the conflict becomes unbearable, which probably makes sense why women tend to storm out of a room during an argument. It's because the stress is just too much for her to deal with. She feels like she's under attack and her brain's like, nope, I'm checking out. Women hate being ignored. Now, I'm probably sure you can laugh at this one because in my head I definitely am thinking, wow, I really do this, don't I? If you ever notice that your girlfriend acts very uncomfortable when you don't text her back straight away, if you miss her calls, she hates it. And she has to ask you what you are thinking when she catches you staring into space. Now, it's because women will excessively scan facial expressions. And if they can't quite figure out what's going on in a situation, they become uncomfortable. And in that moment, if you give her a lack of response and show no emotion on your face, it would give her brain the alarm bells and she would try to resolve the situation immediately. And there we go, we've reached the end of the video. If you want to binge some more, click right here. Or if you want to get your name up on our super fan board, then all you have to do is be a member of our Joyanima monthly membership. Details will be down below. Like and subscribe. See you soon.